Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats, folks, for your daily live updates. Get the most out of today's episode by participating in the chat. Make sure you ask some questions, be part of the conversation, have a bit of fun, grab a coffee or a tea, take some notes, and get ready to start your day, folks. Quick few housekeeping rules, though. No spamming, no advertising or self-promotion in the chat. That's not on. Be kind and respectful to everyone when participating. And most of all, have a good time. Real estate investing can be your biggest asset. It also can be your most expensive asset when it comes to getting it right or getting it wrong, folks. It can be time-consuming, stressful, and that's why here at Positive, we have what's called a 6-star team, a full-service team that provides integrated wealth and property investing solutions and services simply designed to help you progress towards your goal of passive income through your property portfolio, folks. Make sure you check out our other podcasts on the Positive Mentor Network. Not only is there Wealth Coffee Chats, there's the Urban Property Investor. Drops every Wednesday with straight talking investing strategies and lessons with Sam Saggers. Property Investor Tales. This is where our clients, you guys, share real life stories from property investing, hosted by some of our advisors and strategists. And that's done every fortnight, dropping every Monday. Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, folks, that debriefs the week that was in the world of finance and property, hosted by yours truly, Jason Witten and Andy Fenton on Fridays. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Marvellous Monday. Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are. If you think it's Get Rich Quick, you're in the wrong place. This is the wrong podcast. This is the wrong live for you. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Hope you're all awesome and well. Hello. Good morning, folks. Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats. A little bit cold here on the Gold Coast, but listen, I can't complain really about Gold Coast being cold because my guest, who's coming on in a minute, is somewhere probably quite a lot colder. Anyway, good to see you here, folks. A few of the early birds up and at it. Jeff, as always, mate, good to see you. Brad's there too. Fabulous to have you here this morning, team. Do the quick intros while things are warming up. Jason Witten's my name. Most of you know that, though. If you don't, now you do. Wealth Coffee Chats, we hang out each morning, talk about the idea of creating wealth, creating a passive income, creating some financial freedom or security in the future through property investing. But this morning, we're going to talk a little bit about the idea of business and how that works together with your property investing goals. So make sure you hang around for that one as we kick on into the morning. If you're new to the Wealth Coffee Chats, say a bit of a hello in the chat. It's always nice to know who's on with us and where you're flying in from. Kevin's all the way from Florida. How are you, Kevin? Evening to you. There you go, Brendan, out and about, mate. Always doing something, but great to have you dialing in, mate. Thanks for joining. That's awesome. Anyway, folks, well, let's get into it this morning. Thought we might talk about what might be of interest to business owners and property investors in general this morning. Andy Fenton and I, who's my guest this morning, I'm going to bring him on, are doing a little something on Friday, and I thought we might have a little chinwag about that. It's always interesting to have a guest on the show. So, Andy, welcome to the show, mate. Good to see you, bro.
JW, good to see you, mate. Loving your cup this morning, by the way. I thought I'd go a little bit highbrow and bring one of mine in from a good mate of mine, Peter Scance, who's traveling around Europe on a sabbatical. So, mate, it's good to see that we've got the light and dark.
There you go. My children bought me this. There you go.
Well, it's a true statement, mate. It's a true statement.
Indeed. Well, listen, mate. Hey, on Friday, you and I are doing a little something called the Freedom Machine for business owners. There's a lot of PAYG and career-driven people who tune into the Wealth Coffee Chat show. But really, at the end of the day, I think some of these ideas, in general, can apply across
everybody's financial circumstances. But let's just talk about business owners this morning. And for those who are listening who aren't business owners, I'm sure you can glean a little bit of wisdom or ideas from some of these conversations. But mate, what are we doing on Friday, and what's it all about? And we'll just maybe go through these 3 pillars in a minute together.
Mate, well, obviously but we put together, we put this together over 3 years of doing Wealth, Wine and Wisdom together. Forced into lockdown, so we had to dissect all of the things that were going on in the world. And both you and I know that small business is a tough game, and it's one where business owners typically are not business owners. They're not finance people. They don't know the law. They don't know what a company really is. They don't know all of the details behind what it is that they do. They've got an endeavor that they do passionately, and most people really survive because they're good blokes, or you can't say Sheilas these days, can you? They're good people. And they've got a good product or service, and they really survive in spite of having the tools, right? And you and I know that if we had them, potentially their journey would be a lot smoother, a lot easier. Not saying it's going to be easy, but a lot easier. And for some people who are out of business, they'd be alive if they just knew the rules of engagement. It's kind of like parenting business, is that nobody really gives you the rule book. You're just thrown in the deep end, and then it's survive. And unfortunately, in business, many people don't, or they have a really rough trot. So the Freedom Machine is 3 pillars that we put together in order to help business owners navigate the complexities of business to firstly protect themselves. Number one, because you don't want to be taken out by the government, by a hostile party, or just by a mistake. And we all make mistakes, Jace.
Yeah.
And I included, many of them. That's where all the lessons are. But we don't want those mistakes to napalm you and take you out. After that, we then look at, well, how do we structure things? And we'll go through it in a bit more detail, but this is the clouds. We then take people through how to structure their business. And if you're an investor, it might be, if you've got enough properties, you might be thinking, well, maybe I could turn this into a business, and maybe this is for you, because I think that's something that Jason.
Well, I think that's a good point, man, because at the end of the day, all of these pillars really relate to no matter who you are, whether you're a business owner or an investor. Along the way, some awareness of these things is probably the good starting point, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, at least if you know the rules of engagement, then you're empowered to be able to potentially make better choices for yourself in your wealth management journey, both as a business owner and just as a property investor, I guess. So that third one is we make sure that we can protect ourselves. We call it the street fighter tactics. And then we make sure that structurally you're sound and you know where you're going, so that you can maximize your journey. Minimum tax payable legally, and maximum protection along the way, but also setting yourself up in a way that gives you the capability of being able to progress, with the least amount of friction. I think, and maybe whack it in the chat, how many of you made decisions that ultimately you regretted, and then you found it very difficult to unwind those positions, unwind those decisions? Maybe let's not go to marriage or anything like that, but
where are you going, Fenton? You need another coffee.
I do, mate. I do. But in life, we tend to make decisions sometimes, and we don't know the ramifications of those decisions until we're sitting, potentially suffering in them, and we don't know how to unwind them. So structuring is all about making sure that you set yourself up for success right from the beginning. Control the flow, control the tax, control the protection. Choices in cups. I don't know whether Brad's talking to you or me on that one. He's going, "You're not from Oxford, Andy." You can tell that.
A bit of both, I reckon. But yeah, listen, folks, Andy and I, like Andy said, over COVID, we were riffing Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, Wealth Coffee Chats, many things that we were trying to help ourselves and our communities that we serve, business owners and property investors, and putting together a bit of a manual of the last sort of 20 plus years of both of our careers, and personal experiences as well. Some of them from the School of Hard Knocks, some of them from the textbooks, and some of them from some ahas and learnings from the clients that we've helped. And for business owners, we put together a bit of a process. We're going to take sort of around about 4 hours, Andy, on Friday. We're going to start at 9, finish around 1, I think, for this. And we're going to deep dive into these 3 pillars. Now, there's plenty of pieces that fly off of this, folks, but the idea that, we've got a little spammer here. Let me get rid of them. Every now and then we end up with a bit of a spammer in the show. So or put them on the block and then put them in there. There we go. But we're going to deep dive into these.
We need a bat. We need some sort of video animation as we knock the spammers out.
So we're going to deep dive into these 3 things for business owners, but many of these things apply for anyone creating wealth, anyone who wants to protect their wealth, anyone who wants to maximize their wealth. Number 1 is about cash. The most important thing, the number 1 thing in wealth, folks, is the understanding of how you control the cash. Control the cash. Control the cash, folks. And most of us don't understand that we've given away control. We've given away control of the money to institutions and others. And we're going to dive into that as we go. We're going to dive into the conversation of how do you control your cash using your banking? How do you control your cash using lending? And how do you control your cash using what we call PGs, personal guarantees? Now, controlling the cash in these spaces is pretty important. Those 3 things are vital to master, Andy. You and I often are trying to help a lot of people undo that piece. And it's irrelevant, to be honest, whether it's PAYG or business owners. If you don't understand how to control your cash for your banking, your lending, and your personal guarantees, which means any credit structure out there, which is a credit card, a car loan, a damn HEX debt, your cash, your oxygen for life is controlled by someone else. Your future is already sold, Andy. Like, a lot of people don't even realize they've sold their future before they've even arrived.
Mate, absolutely. It's so one thing to keep yourself alive, keep that blood pumping around the system. And it's interesting because, the dynamics that you and I bring, without tooting our own horn, is like, you've been jumping in the ring ever since you were a teenager. I stuck my head into books first, but ultimately learnt how to play the system. And one of the key areas that we used to use back in the days of M&A, mergers and acquisitions, in order to acquire really healthy companies that were really going well, were the things that we teach here how to avoid. And so you can avoid them against hostile parties, but you can also avoid them just to safeguard yourself against the ATO, against mistakes, as we say, because ultimately these were the control the cash part. Really, in my old world, was how we used to take really good companies off the people who used to own them. And of course, we took them for ourselves so that we could then monopolize that in the world of merchant banking, investment banking, and things of that nature. So it's quite a good dynamic, because it's sort of got you've been used to fighting off hostile parties your whole life, and I used to be one. So ultimately we share the secrets from both sides of the equation of how you can make sure that you stay safe. And these are really the tools that you don't know right now that you need them. And that's the one reason that you absolutely must know them. So if you're sitting there and you're going, oh, I don't know what they're talking about, I don't think I need it, then you're absolutely the type of person that desperately needs it, because unfortunately, by the time you realize that you've made a mistake, quite often that can be too late. And there's some very simple, practical things, very, very simple, that you can do to really protect your lifetime of effort.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's really important. I was just thinking, I was having a moment, like, there's no such thing as cash anymore. Maybe it's control the credit, Andy.
It's control the numbers, really, isn't it?
Control the numbers, control the ones and zeros. But there you go. Anyway, structures. This is pretty important to understand, team folks. Andy did a great job of it last night if you were on our mentoring call. If you didn't catch it, you can catch the replay. But, Andy, talk about, structures are really an idea of how and where we might own an asset or receive an income. It's really about the flexibility of managing our tax, ownership and control and whatever it might be. And so, there's three parts to this we're going to sort of go through, which is like, what are the entities? What are those structures? Call them vehicles, entities that we can own and receive capital gains, income and own assets, control and those sorts of things. What are the roles you need to play? We talk about this all the time. You said, no one knows. You get thrown in or you jump in the deep end. It's director, guarantor, shareholder, all sorts of roles that you don't even know you've got when you start business, and then you go, what does that mean? And then some of it can be quite impactful if you don't know what's going on.
And I've come up with a new term, Jay. So I was talking about it the other day on a different stream, but I just lost it. We call them inclusive accounting. So in this world of inclusivity, rightly or wrongly, I'm not going to get into that debate these days. This morning, it's far too early in the morning for that sort of stuff. But I call it inclusive accounting, which is sometimes you've got accountants that are so inclusive, they think, well, we'll make sure that everybody's in there. Mum and dad, both directors, mum and dad, both shareholders, mum and dad are everywhere. We want to be inclusive in this accounting system. And ultimately, all that does is open you up to massive amounts of risk. And it's not the way. Inclusivity is not always the way. In business and in investing, sometimes divide and conquer is the right approach.
Yeah. Well, the institutions I know joint.
Well, I think I've lost you there a little bit, Witten. Team, give us a shout out if you can hear me, or whether we've lost Witten. Let's see if I'm on the call by myself at the moment. I think we've got a little bit of an issue there, but again, hear me? Shall I keep? Only Andy. I'm not sure. Oh, he's back. He's back. I was about to take this over, Jace. It was about to be a hostile takeover.
I think that would have been a good idea for you to take it over for sure. But there you go. Maybe it looks like you've frozen at my end on your camera here, but I can hear you. Let's see if I can change the vision. There he is, back. Anyway, I tell you what, folks, it's interesting when you try to work with, what do they say? Don't work with the internet, live internet, kids and animals on a TV show.
Yeah. I think I've worked with just about all of them.
There you go. But anyway, both good on YouTube. Well, there is buffering on YouTube. Well, listen, Andy, we were talking about the idea of, structures. You as an individual are a structure, folks, if you didn't already know. You are a structure in the eyes of the law when it comes to ownership and tax and lending. And so, whether you're a PAYG or a business owner or investor or all three, you need to understand the structures and how things flow. How things flow when it comes to the process of going through this ownership and how they flow and end up ultimately expressing themselves in assets, or what we call ATMs, the place you go and put the card in the wall and you get money out, or your assets, your business, your things that you can have, fleeting ownership of, let's say, while you're here on this mortal coil, is the point is for it to create some cash flow, some capacity for you to generate some income for whatever purposes you desire. But, understanding what are those assets, what are those ATM vehicles that we can invest in, Andy. You and I love this stuff. Often people start at the wrong end of things, right? They go, I want to buy some properties. I want to buy some shares. I want to invest in something. But, building this on shaky ground, building an asset base, an ATM on shaky ground when your structures are no good, you're going to be taxed through the eyeballs, the risk is too high, you can't even control the cash, you've got too many PGs, your lending is in the wrong way. Unless you clean up these things, this becomes potentially, dangerous, if not, a moot point when it comes to this endeavor.
Absolutely. And really, we only need to focus on three areas, which is, is the business considered to be an investment? Is it an asset, which means that one day you can sell, whether that be, sell to team members, whether it be sell to other private companies, whether it be a listing on the stock exchange. Is there an exit plan for your business? Is that an asset? And the reality is that many businesses, it's not, right? You can't sell your business. Many businesses and business owners do not know how to sell their business and don't know how to structure it for sale. I believe that if a business is producing good cash flow for you and a good lifestyle for you, then there's a high probability you can pass that on and sell that for something and potentially even tax-free. So structuring it now is what you need to be aware of as to how to do that. And ultimately, I think if more people knew how to do this from the beginning, we'd have a lot more happy business owners out there, because it becomes a real issue when people go, well, now it's time. I want to get off this boat, but ultimately they've got no life raft. They've got nothing to jump into. They've got no vehicle. They're in the middle of the Antarctic. They can't just jump into the water, and it becomes a really frustrating journey. Is the business an asset? How do we structure it as an asset? How do we avoid making sure that we're, strapped to the boat for the rest of our lives and we're wedded to it, because that can sometimes happen.
Yeah, giving us choices, right? Really, at the end of the day, you kind of feel like you're on this rocket ship with no exit plan, or Groundhog Day, depending on what's going on. If you start with the beginning in mind, then you have a much more clarity about your decision-making process and how you're going. So
starting with the end in mind, because the other thing that happens, and I'm starting to realize this, Witten, is as you get older, you get a little bit more tired. And if you're strapped to a rocket that's going 1,000,000 miles a second, when you're young, it's quite easy to hang on. As you start to get older, you're like, I was hanging on with my hands, but my hands are sore. So now I'm just holding on with my legs, and I'm not sure how long they're going to last. So it's not just for the money side; it's for the sanity and for health and lifestyle. It's important to know, what is your exit plan in advance, so then it doesn't become something that creates a lot of stress in your life later on.
Yeah. So on Friday, Andy, which is just around the corner, folks, just around the corner. Not just around the corner. In 3 days' time, we're going to host the Freedom Machine. Love to see any and all of you there. If you want to come along and hang out with Andy and myself and see a bit of a deep dive into this info and some of the things that we're going to teach. I was going to try and find the link, but I've
got one here, Jace. You keep going, and I'll grab one.
That's not the link. But if Andy drops that in the chat, that'd be brilliant. The internet today, Brendan, a bit of a pain. It's Mick's birthday. Maybe we should sing him happy birthday. There you go. Happy birthday, Mick. But listen, Andy's going to maybe drop the link in the chat for this Friday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., I think it is. But if you're a business owner, property investor, there will be plenty of great information there for you. So love to have you guys come along and hang out with us and share a few hours of learning and fun, folks. So there you go. So Andy's just chucked the link in the chat. Register and come along and hang out. That's about it for us this morning, Andy. But any last words of wisdom that you might want to share? Thanks for last night. It was good. People loved it.
Mate, might want to save the wisdom for Friday, but maybe we might share that how you can get up to about $500,000 worth of tax-free income on the Friday as well. But one of the things that if you want to access tax-free, if you want to reduce the amount of stress ultimately in the exit of the business, if you want to be able to have a journey that is a little bit less of a bumpy road and a little bit more smooth sailing, then jump on it, spend the time, because I think there are a few endeavors in life that we don't get educated for. Potentially parenting is one of them. Business is another one. And ultimately in both zones, we put our life and our effort into it. And we're sort of flying along blind. So this really is an incredible tool that you guys can use in order to maybe create a little bit of a better journey for yourself, a little bit of a higher quality journey for yourself. And ultimately, what I know from studying is that business really, I think everyone should do a bit of an MBA type thing before they jump into business in order to be able to navigate it. Everyone would be better off, and this is the best version of it that we put together in order to be able to help you. I guarantee you, if you come along, you're going to walk away with a lot of value. So, and we'll have a lot of fun at the same time. So we'll look forward to seeing many of your smiling faces on the other side of Zoom and getting a chance to riff with you on Friday.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. That's it from us. Thanks for joining us today. Hopefully see some of you on Friday. And if not, tomorrow you've got Wealth Coffee Chats with the one and only Cass from the finance team. So the property management team. Yeah, there you go. Enjoy that and see you guys sometime soon. All right, that's it. Brad's going to see us in a couple of weeks. Yes, at the Property Summit Combo On-Ramp Exit Plan. There you go. All right, folks, that's it. Take care. See you guys soon. Thanks, Andy.
Welcome. See you, team.
Episode of Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing when we go live. Improve your portfolio and investing game, folks, with Wealth Coffee Chats live every morning at 8:10 each weekday. Make sure you join us. Previous episodes are also available wherever you get your podcasts, folks, as well as our other podcasts from the 6 Star team here at positivementor.com.au.